Martin is looking to keep his spot for the regular season championship to get another win. Dorian Sparks is looking to stay into playoff contention. Drivers like JT Boyd are just hoping to get a win. Sad needs a miracle. Fontaine wants to stay in. Mine, Morrissey Jr., and Molina and Roderick are all hoping that they can do everything they can to get himself into the chase. The last race of the regular season is underway here at this 1 mile road course. Let's get underway here at Brands Hatch. Who's going to get the whole shot into turn 1? It looks like it's going to be Bolio Brown. But Martin goes side by side against the 23. Coming into turn 2, we had a car who slid. Who was that? Looks like it was the 51 of Jackie Everett, so that's pretty insignificant for now. Morrison Jr. is into the grass, but he saves it. This very, very narrow road course. Not a lot of places you can go, but that's just going to make the racing much more tense. Looks like Martin is going to finally win that battle off of turn 4. He's into the grass. I take that back. Dorian Sparks is now into the grass. That's horrible for Dorian Sparks, as now that means he's going to have to do a lot to fight his way back into the playoff spots. He's now content with just racing alongside the 48 of Dane Stockholm in the 77, but that's not, actually, he won't be content at all. He would be very angry with himself, as that even though he is a rookie, he probably just blown his chances of getting into that chase. Coming into turn 2, you can see all the drivers that are either fighting for the regular season championship. Oh, there's Matt Molina. He's into the wall. He's into the tire wall with a lot of damage onto the side. And now he's racing along Sparks. That's just as bad for Molina as it was for Sparks earlier. But Sparks doesn't have any significant damage, and Molina does. That's two. Those what you just call rookie mistakes. Sparks and Molina have probably just blown their chances, especially how Mine and Morrison Jr. are still racing practically right by each other. Looks like Mine is racing in 3rd. No, he is in 5th. And Morrison Jr. is in. He is in 7th. As he said, they are very close together. Meanwhile, up front, you can see that Martin and Boyd are fighting like it's the fight for the last season of the race, like it's the race for the championship. Martin's going to try to go inside Boyd here. Doesn't risk it quite yet. A very nice new livery from JT Boyd with the Alien Supermarket service, which is basically one of Omega Mart's main competitors. How about that for Martin? He just bumped and ran Boyd out of the way. Boyd saves it, but that gives the 23 of Bolio Brown a chance to take that 2nd spot away. Morrissey Jr. and Roderick are now racing. Roderick is a car that can still mathematically get it as well. He's on 409. Remember, the last car is the 56 of Dorian Sparks with 417, so that's 8 points that Roderick is going to have to finish above Dorian Sparks, and that's just hoping that Morrissey Jr. and Mine screwed up. And it looks like Mine did screw up as well. Where did he go? He's right. Fontaine actually got into each other. They both hit hard into the wall. Mine's damage isn't too significant, but Fontaine, he's already in anyway. I don't think he's going to care too much about that. Lap 7 now. JT Boyd is racing alongside Dustin Morrissey Jr. Zach Roderick and Morrissey Jr. will be able to hop the rest of the crowd since they are more than 8 points behind of the rest. There is Nick Baker. He only needs 7 points to get ahead, but he will be able to have enough if he get ahead of Dorian Sparks. Baker's into the grass, but he saves it using that experience that he's got so many times in different racing series throughout the years. It's still Bolio Brown and Levante Martin racing for the lead. Dustin Morrison Jr. will be more than contempt enough for the 3rd spot, and Roderick will be more than contempt enough for the 5th spot. But JT Boyd's got a pretty fast car at the moment. Let's see what he can do with it. Let's see where the rest of the playoff drivers are going into, or the drivers that are contending for him. Hopkins is comfortable with where she is. There's Nick Baker and there's Dorian Sparks. At the moment, Sparks would still be ahead of Baker, so the 24 Molina has dropped out. So at the moment, Dorian Sparks will still finish ahead of Nick Baker and keep his 10th spot. Morrissey Jr. would be overtaking Matt Molina. But don't count out the 52 yet. The 52 is He needs to be 4 points ahead of the 9. And actually he is, which means that the 52 of Roderick will actually be the one who sneaks himself in. He is more than 7 positions ahead of Sparks, and that's all he needs. Coming into the pit road right now, Dustin Morrissey Jr. goes into his. Here comes Boyd, here comes Roderick. Kronberg has decided to stay out. He has very heavy damage, but it won't matter for him anyway since he's pretty much in. I imagine all drivers are going to want to take 4 tires here. Who's going to be the first to come out? Dorian Sparks has just came in. Excellent. It looks like it's going to be JT Boyd who's the first out, and he is. Excellent pitting strategy from JT Boyd. There's Everett, who crashed in the second lap. This is a pretty intense pitting cycle here. We have the 83 of Hopkins, who just whacked herself into the 77. Maybe this is one of the main cons of having a 2-lane pit stall. But one driver who's definitely not going to care is the 71 of JT Boyd. Let's fast forward. So here, the car that is in the lead is JT Boyd, if we can find him. There is Boyd right there. He has a pretty big lead, at least by 4 seconds. Excellent strategy of being the very first to pit. It looks like it's going to pay off. The 51 of Everett in second, pretty good redemption considering how she spun herself out on the second lap. And then we have a very good battle here between Sed and Martin. Sed will not be doing enough to get himself into the chase, but let's look at the rest of the drivers. Morrison Jr. will overtake Sparks and Molina with the way things stand right now. If we can find Roderick, there is Roderick who would need... Roderick would need 8 points. He would have to finish 8 points ahead of Molina, and at the moment it looks like he is. He has slight damage, but he's not going to care. And there is Nick Baker, who is behind Roderick by 3 positions. So at the moment, the 52 is ahead of the 9, with just 2 laps to go. At the moment, the final spots are going to be taken by Morrissey Jr. and Roderick, because the 24 and the 56 are just way too far back. Looks like the 19 of Opsal's 10 laps down. He will finish last. There's the 65 of Stevenson, which he should be fine. Yep, the 24 of Molina's in 35th. And the 56 of Sparks is in 24th. So at the moment, that means that Roderick and Morrison Jr. are going to be the cars that take the 9th and 10th spot. We will calculate it once again just to make sure. But let's get back to our race leader. 1 lap to go for JT Boyd. He cannot mathematically get in, but a 2-win season for his standards is a very good season. He's going to make his new sponsor very proud as long as he can keep it together for now. And then we have Martin, who just passed Sed for that 2nd spot. Bolio Brown is in 4th. The last car in the top 5 is Dustin Morrissey Jr. The fastest lap bonus goes to the 43 of DJ Zeus, so that's insignificant. But here we go. The last lap for Roderick to overtake him. Lap for Roderick, who needed just 8 points to take himself ahead of Matt Molina. The 52 is in 8th, and the 56 is all the way back in 24th, which is more than enough. The rookie, with simple rookie mistakes, they would definitely need more experience. JT Boyd comes across the finish line to win. Levante Martin will get 2nd, but it will be Dustin Morrison Jr. and Zach Roderick, who come back from 11th and 14th to get themselves 9th and 10th and throw themselves into the 10-man chase. Excellent drive from JT Boyd, and excellent driving from especially the 10 and the 52.